Today, we're talking about how to actually make productivity habits stick. The reason so many of your favorite influencers can make millions and millions of dollars is because they typically only share what these habits are. But the real money comes from how you use these habits and make them long term. The good news is I'm going to give you a structured formula on how to use those habits. And once you learn the formula, you'll become a master at integrating any habit into your life. But let's start with step number 1, intentions. So why is intention first? Intention allows you to get extremely clear on what your goal is. You're watching this video because you have 100 things you need to do in a week and you want to accomplish one goal. It could be to start a side hustle, spend more time with your family, or maybe go to more parties to find your lifelong partner. Just kidding. Whatever that goal is, state one intention to achieve that goal. If you're having trouble, use this formula here. For example, I want to wake up earlier on weekends because I want to grow my side hustle. If you don't know or you're unsure, just pick the first reason that comes to your head and go with it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now that you have your intention, you can move on to the next step, choosing your habit. Choosing your habit must not only align with your intention, but who you are as a person right now. For example, let's say 2 people have the same intention. They both chose the habit of waking up at 9 a.m. Person A is a night owl, usually wakes up on weekends at noon. Person B isn't a night owl and usually wakes up at 10 a.m. If they both use that same 9 a.m. habit, person A is literally going to be walking like a zombie the rest of the day. And I know there's going to be some of you, they're going to be twisting my words and say, well, Danny, but I'll be up to sleep, so I don't really need that much. Great. You got to normalize on yourself, not other people. If you get 5 hours, 6 hours, 7, whatever hours to get that full rest, subtract 3 hours, and that's the way to view it. So instead of randomly picking up habits online, person A, the night owl, needs to choose a better habit. Maybe sleep at 10 p.m. every day and later pick up the 9 a.m. habit. Now that you have your intention and habit chosen, you can move on to defining the output to measure your new habit. The hardest part of productivity habits is that we assume when you implement it, you win. And that's absolutely not true. Most people are missing step number 3, defining your outputs. And technically, it has 2 parts. And I'll explain the first one later. There's a gold part at top, but we're talking about the blue one on the bottom. You've got to choose one simple metric. For example, let's say in step 2, you chose to wake up at 9 a.m. So what's a good metric? Time. If you wanted to set aside 10% of your salary every week, what's a good metric? Money. If you can't pick a good metric, likely it depends on someone else. For example, let's say you want to hang out with your friends. They're always 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours late. You've got to incorporate that into your metric. Your habit inherently needs a reasonable amount of accountability. And don't just log it into your head. That's using feelings, which we'll talk about later. So now you've got your intentions, habit, and your output. Now let's move on to execution. Step 4, execute and log output. You'll want to determine how you're going to execute this habit. There's a million ways to do this, but if you want to wake up at 9 a.m., you could set an alarm, or you can have your partner wake you up. Or maybe you're just going to buy one of those moving clocks where you have to run around the room and turn it off. I don't know. You'll have to figure out something that works for you. The key here is consistency and being able to log your output. Now, for the part that you've been all waiting for, the subjective measurement or feelings. Feelings is one of the hardest sections and one where everyone messes up on. Because let's face it, we're humans and humans are driven by emotions. I've been there with you. I've lost myself to emotions when I miss a goal, but I'm going to share a secret that no one else tells you. Throughout this process, you'll experience a wide range of emotions. While you're watching this video, you're going to feel positive emotions, inspired, motivated, energized. But once you start trying to wake up early and you miss a goal, you'll feel sad, disappointed, tired. The truth is, negative feelings can pop up at any point. And at any point they pop up, stop. Don't continue unless you address that negative feeling. The reason I tell you this, because if you don't address that negative feeling now, they stay in your body. And as you keep shoving down negative feelings, your body will tell you it's time to explode. And then you'll start lashing out at your friends, family, and your loved ones. With your negative feeling in hand, I want you to unpeel the reason why this is happening. The truth is, feelings are super complex, but let's make it simple. Ask yourself one question. Why am I feeling negative feeling? Why am I feeling sad? Why am I feeling disappointed? Write down a max of 3 reasons. Don't overwhelm yourself with a laundry list of reasons, because the goal is to make life easier, not harder. Let's say you're disappointed at yourself for not waking up at 10 a.m. and you're trying to wake up at 9 a.m. These could be some of the reasons why you're disappointed in yourself. And if you're having a hard time, write down the first thing that comes to your mind. You can always come back and change it later. Now that you have your reasons, you can move on to the power leap. A power leap comes from a feeling, and as you can see, affects all steps in this process. But let's focus on one power leap. With your 3 reasons, pick only one to address. For example, let's say you didn't hear the alarm and it was because your phone volume was too low. Perfect. You can crank up the phone alarm volume so that I can hear it tomorrow. This power leap only affects execution and doesn't change anything else. The pattern to recognize here is one reason, one power leap modifies one step. What about the second reason? I was still tired when my alarm went off at 9 a.m. What do? Your new power leap is to choose a better habit. Instead of waking up at 9 a.m., choose to go to bed at 10 p.m. How about the third reason? This one's actually my favorite one because it modifies your intention. What if my alarm reminds me of bad memories of my mom waking up at 9 a.m.? She's yelling, telling me to get out the door. Past memories can't change overnight. So the best thing you can do is to change your original intention from waking up early to a new intention of developing a better relationship with alarms. If you still want to keep the 9 a.m. habit while tackling a bad memory, that's okay. Create a new intention and habit for the bad memory. Just know you'll feel disappointed when you're waking up at 9 a.m., but you're also tackling that bad memory at the same time. Okay, so let's tie this all together and go back to why you're even watching this video. How do you know you're effectively using your new productivity habit? When all the negative feelings have gone away and you're reaping all the positive rewards from your new habit, you've done it. Honestly, don't knock yourself down if you can't get rid of all the negative feelings. I know implementing these habits is so hard. Give yourself grace. There's definitely more to this methodology, such as you can have multiple intentions, multiple habits, multiple feelings. Because if there's one thing I can't stand is someone saying you can only have one feeling, one habit, or one intention. But that's for another video. I created this video not to overwhelm you, but to distill everything down to something easy to digest. If you found this video helpful, please consider leaving a like. I'm more than happy to make more. Also, YouTube thinks you'll like this video.